Man, I sure do love me some Chloe x Halle, the amazingly talented proteges of Beyonce. I wonder what they're gonna do next. Oh? A TV spin-off of the popular black sitcom Blackish focused on their eldest daughter? Well, I haven't watched much of the show, but it's set with college-age kids, so I, a college-aged adult, will give it a shot. Grownish. Wow, this show strikes a chord with me on some personal levels. What do you say about a spin-off to a show that airs on Freeform? Going in, I figured it would be just another sad attempt from a bunch of adults who don't know much about the youth, so they give them garbage dialogue and make them spoiled, entitled brats. And although there was a little bit of that, coming from someone who just finished undergrad, I would say that this show is one of the more accurate portrayals of college life that I've seen in recent years. The show manages to have a main character who acts as our Zach Morris and leads us in her day-to-day, well, week-to-week awakenings as a college freshman. Enter Zoe Johnson, a bright-eyed, semi-optimistic 18-year-old who is about to make her first real foray into independence at the esteemed Cal U. Through the 13-episode season, we see our leading lady have to wade through an ocean of booze, boys, and collegiate internships to try and find not only what she wants out of college, but also what she wants out of life. And although the show does feature adults in the form of Chris Parnell as the pushover dean of students, Bert Parker, as well as returning Blackish actor Dion Cole as Charlie Telfie, I really want to focus this on the minority breakfast club that she ends up associating with during the course of the season. Starting with...
The party was amazing. I mean, I was trying to get Anna to slow her roll and she wasn't having it. But things between us were going great.
Anna Torres.
Until they weren't.
Anna is a bit of an enigma of a character. She is a Latina Republican with a crush on Barack Obama and possibly her uncle, who is also the dean, Bert Parker. Anna is Zoe's conservative and quite possibly more inexperienced roommate during their freshman year. I'll say how they started was simply awful, considering Zoe abandoned her drunk and puke-covered ass at a party. They reconciled, of course, and throughout the season we see Anna both develop in terms of experiences with life, but also with understanding other worldviews, like in the Safe Spaces episode.
Safe space for one! Safe space for all! Safe space for one! Safe space for all!
Still, she can be rather uptight at times.
Zoe, get your ass up. We're taking you out to go dancing and drink irresponsible amounts of liquor. You will feel much better.
Next is Nomi Siegel, a semi-out and very proud Jewish bisexual. Nomi does kind of act as the antithesis of expectation to Anna, but at the same time, despite being a little bit of a bitch, can very much be the voice of reason that Zoe can depend on as well as the others. At the same time, we see that she does have a lot more growing up to do, but is very much living in the moment of college and experimenting with as many people, drugs, and alcohol as she can before the real world basically smacks her in the face.
So she's a sexually liberated woman who doesn't care about labels. Look, you're in college now, okay? You can vote, you can buy an AR-15, a little D's not gonna kill you. Or a big one.
All right, fine. Maybe it wouldn't be the worst idea to talk it out. I mean, I was thinking of creating a comprehensive pro-con list.
Sweetie, that's the dumbest shit I've ever heard.
Well, Jazz, it's actually a pretty efficient way of organizing your thoughts. I mean, think about it. Wouldn't it help to figure out which guy you're most attracted to? Which you actually see a real future with?
And which bum-ass loser deserves to die?
And finally, to round out the ladies, are my personal favorites.
It's the game.
Jaslyn and Skylar, two track team members who come from the hood and are pretty dead set focused on school and being athletes, but still find time to get wrapped up in Zoe's antics. I love their chemistry with each other, but also because they have some of the best one-liners in the show.
Cut that loose for the right price. I'll lose anything.
It's 2:30 in the morning.
Yeah, whole time.
And despite them being the more brutally honest of the girls, it also seems like they hide a lot, which we have during the discussion on love for black women in college areas. You see that despite their kind of real outer front, there is a genuineness and vulnerability that they both seem to have as well. Next up are the guys, and this is interesting because we start with
I'm just saying that we're at a primarily white institution. There's a much smaller pool of black guys here.
Vivek Shah, an Indian drug dealer on campus with aspirations of basically being Drake, but Indian. He's fine as a character and kind of serves a purpose to sometimes be in with his life goals or experiences, but he's very much still of the mindset of chasing fame. Something that seems possible since people can be famous from simply Instagram and YouTube alone. He can come off as a little conceited, but he does kind of break away from just being only skeezy as his characteristic.
Please tell me you're out of business for a minute.
Okay.
That look on Vivek's face said he was far from out of business. With Arturo gone and the other dealers on campus laying low, the demand was high.
Hey, aren't you that homeless dude that interned with Zoe, right?
What? Yep, that's him. That's the one. Good eye.
And you're her, like, gay best friend?
Nailed it, my guy.
Now to continue, the next three guys are the love interest and leading men, starting with
what a surprise. You know, you're profiting off my work. Historically, that's what conservatives have always done, so you're on the right track. Good job.
Aaron Jackson, a sophomore who is #woke and really is still trying to find himself despite being in his second year of college. He does pop in and out of Zoe's love life, simultaneously wanting to support her and help her grow as a friend, while also not wanting her to really be with anyone else. So he ends up kind of being in this perpetual loop of not being able to decide what he wants with her up until the very end.
You know I can't let you walk home alone, right? Mike, you think you can walk her home?
Sure. But seriously, what's good? You taking something out on that dress? Like, I get it. Lace is very 2 seasons ago, but it didn't murder your family or anything.
Everybody's arguing about safe spaces.
Safe spaces? No. Just quiet for that. Such a cliche, it's like, we get it. You have feelings.
Next is the wannabe Jane Smith himself, Luca Hall, a kind of nihilistic, weed-smoking fashion guru who also ends up at the same fashion internship as Zoe. Luca is kind of a wild card because he has this incredible ability to never really clue people into his intentions, and that's where the romantic conflict comes from because even though he has feelings, all he really shares are his opinions.
Your generation is softer than Drake.
Pause, aren't we the same age?
Physically, sure.
Any chance you talked to either of you two about us getting back together?
Nah, I was with her last night, and she didn't say anything like that.
Yeah, I was also with her later in the night, and she didn't say anything like that at all.
And lastly is the semi-returning character, Cash, who I only mention because he ends up being Zoe's first real experience with love. He's a student athlete who ends up falling for her after she helps to try and tutor him for some classes. At the same time, Cash kind of struggles with his wants because Zoe pushes him to choose between security in his college degree and his aspirations of being in the NBA. At the same time, he ends up giving Zoe her first heartbreak as well.
What's up, guys?
Yo, what's up, little man? Yeah, it's not the best time for a selfie right now, but I'll catch you on the way out.
I actually didn't come for...
Sorry about that.
Oh, no, you have nothing to apologize for.
What I really like about these characters is that although they are diverse, they feel like people. And not just generically people, but people I could have met in college. One of the issues with diversity castings in movies and television nowadays is that they hollow out individuals to what they are and not who they are. They could have easily made Nomi always being out in pride the central focus of who she was, but they didn't and instead weaved it into her storyline. There is an episode where after a bad date with a girl, she actually starts seeing a bisexual guy but is put off by the fact that he's been with men, which opens that door of conversation because it kind of makes her a hypocrite, and there are actually consequences to her doing this. Anna could have also been a stereotypical Latina who is just fiery, whatever that means. Instead, they opted to make her a minority conservative, which you never really see represented despite the fact that, yeah, they do exist somewhere. And she isn't represented as really stupid either. During the Safe Spaces episode, she actually does make some solid arguments about how her being a minority Republican should be allowed a safe space just like anyone else because they do often get mocked and ridiculed. Which, let's discuss something that does play a role in the show's depiction of colleges. Social media and social justice. There isn't a mocking of the use of technology like I've seen highly criticized by the baby boomer generation. There is, by comparison, a sort of awareness that social media is part of our everyday lives as millennials, and specifically in this case, Generation Z. We're in a time where for the low price of free $99, you can start a YouTube or an Instagram account and have people kind of indirectly validate your existence as well as openly criticize you. The words of the world are literally in the palm of your hand, and that does alter how you interact with your peers on campus. If a picture blows up calling you a slut, people will look at you different. If your boyfriend is in the running for the NBA, people will hoist you up like a queen or just be jealous because they want what you have. And it's easy to just close the app or try to go on a social media blackout, but it's such a relied on form of communication now, it can't be understated the impact that it has. And in regard to discussing social justice issues and even just frankly social issues like, why do black guys go after white girls?
I mean, what kind of message do you think that's sending?
The message is, we're not it.
You are for me. And black women are at the top of my list. There is nothing sexier than a strong, independent, confident woman. That's why I take a Tiana Taylor or a Kiki Palmer over a J-Law any day.
Should everyone or no one have safe spaces?
Well, I mean, what's so bad with somebody getting a safe space if they want one?
All a safe space is a bunch of people sitting around agreeing with each other.
I'm not sure that's what it's about. It's a place to go to feel comfortable.
But that's the thing. People need to get comfortable being uncomfortable.
So is that why you're always trying to make people uncomfortable?
What do you do in a love triangle? Or a quadrangle in Zoe's case at the end?
Guys, this would be the best game ever. A marry, kill.
Yes.
Well, seriously? Honest, you guys want me to make the biggest decision in my young adult life based on some drinking game?
Hey, this is not a game. Do you hear me? This is real life.
Oh.
Whoa. I'm sorry. I can't stand it when people don't see the bigger picture. Like, damn.
Is it weird for guys to be bisexual? What's it with people selling drugs on campus for money? Is there a struggle for student athletes to actually find careers in case something goes wrong during college? What I think is good is that the show tackles it in a way that doesn't seem to have a solid right answer, but gives somewhat decent insight at least into how the characters perceive these questions. At the same time, they introduce a lot of these questions as legitimate, normal questions because in this day and age, they really are normal conversations.
Was that a diaper? Did someone throw a diaper at me?
I can't count the number of times I've had conversations go from goofy and stupid-ass memes to political discussions in
the snap of his fingers.
Younger people are asking more questions not just about the world, but also about each other. And when you reach college and realize it isn't like the movies, you have to find a way to learn and adapt at the same time to what suits you. So yeah, good fleshed out characters, a nice episodic format that challenges its viewers, but not too far to get preachy. What else did it get? They got the sex, drugs, alcohol, and swearing about right. Seriously, you may not see it, parents of people that may watch the show, but you can feel it if you've been here long enough. Honestly, to round this out, I just want to talk about Yara Shahidi's performance as Zoe Johnson, and although she's this 18-year-old black girl from California, she's written in a way that not only takes me back to my freshman year of college, but also makes me anticipate where her character will go moving forward into season 2. She's just really easy and empathetic to relate to. Her learning about hookups.
Or a big one.
What? No. We're just strictly hooking up.
Zoe, what does hooking up mean to you?
Making out and stuff.
This girl's gone. Zoe, hooking up is not making out and stuff, unless the stuff is sex.
Underage drinking, the love quadrangles, all while trying to maintain good grades in a social life? It's a smash cut experience into reality in going from the security blanket of home to the mysterious voyage of university as this weird interim between childhood and adulthood. So yeah, Grownish, 9 out of 10, highly recommend. They do lose a point because no college bedroom for 2 people is that big, so that's just giving people false hope. Let me know your thoughts on the show down in the comments below. Like and subscribe, and I'll see you next time. Also, the season ending was low-key bullshit because she should have stayed single, but instead she picked that nerdy, artsy weirdo. But whatever, it's fine, I'm okay. Side note, while writing this, I realized all the episode titles are based off songs and albums, and that's just a really cool touch I didn't really notice before.